Welcome to the Echoes of Ihsan podcast. Today we're going on a deep dive into the world of the Prophet Muhammad's companions.
You know through the lens of Sahih Muslim.
Yes.
Book 31.
Okay.
The merits of the companions.
I like that. You know, this book, it's not just some kind of like dry historical record.
Right.
It's like vibrant, filled with these stories that just kind of pull you in, give you this glimpse into the lives of the people that, were closest to the Prophet.
Yeah.
Really gives you a sense of their character, their struggles, and I think really the profound impact that they had on that early Muslim community.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like stepping back in time, You get to kind of see the birth of Islam firsthand.
That's right, through the eyes of those who lived it. And it's not just about the past either.
Right.
I think these stories, they hold these timeless lessons about faith, resilience, the human condition.
Yeah.
Stuff that resonates even today. Absolutely. We're not talking about names and dates.
Right.
These are real people, right? People who loved, who laughed, they struggled, and they ultimately helped shape history.
The course of history, absolutely.
Where do we even begin, I mean, this is such a treasure trove.
Well, I think a natural starting point would have to be Abu Bakr Siddiq.
Oh, yeah.
The first caliph of Islam.
Okay.
And, of course, the Prophet's closest companion. I mean, his unwavering faith, profound generosity, really.
Yes.
Set a standard, I think, for all believers.
Oh, Abu Bakr, man. Whenever I hear his name, I just think of that story in the cave with the Prophet and the pursuers just outside. It's so intense. I get chills just thinking about it.
Yeah.
That's Hadith 5868, right?
That's the one. Powerful story.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine the scene, okay? You got the Prophet and Abu Bakr fleeing persecution in Mecca,
right,
seeking refuge in this dark, cramped cave.
Right.
And they can hear their enemies, the polytheists, searching for them right outside.
Oh, man.
That tension.
It's crazy.
Must have been unbearable.
Yeah. You just feel that fear and that uncertainty.
And in that moment of intense fear, Abu Bakr expresses his concern.
Yeah.
To the Prophet, he's whispering, if any of them should look under his feet, he would see us.
Oh, man.
But the Prophet, peace be upon him, responds with these words that I think really encapsulate the essence of tawakkul, complete trust and reliance on God. He says, Abu Bakr, what do you think of two when Allah is the third one with them?
Powerful words. So reassuring. Even in those darkest of times.
Right.
Where, everything seems lost. That faith in God's protection can be a source of immense strength.
And, tawakkul, it's not just blind faith, It's an act of trust in God's plan, even when we don't understand it. It's about surrendering those fears, anxieties to a higher power, knowing that ultimately we are in God's care. And Abu Bakr, despite his initial fear, he embodies this concept beautifully. Trusts the Prophet's words and finds that peace in the knowledge that they're not alone, that God is with them.
It makes me wonder if this experience in the cave, shaped Abu Bakr's character even further. Do you think, this experience solidified his trust in God?
I think it's certainly possible. Experiences like that, where faith is really tested and proven, they can have a profound impact on one's spiritual development for sure. And this unwavering faith, this tawakkul, becomes a defining characteristic of Abu Bakr. It's what allows him to stand by the Prophet's side through thick and thin, through persecution, migration, battles, and ultimately the establishment of that first Muslim community.
It's interesting you highlight tawakkul as this key trait, because I hear it mentioned a lot in Islamic teachings.
Right.
But when you explain it in the context of Abu Bakr's story, it just makes it so much more, tangible and real.
That's the beauty of studying the lives of the companions. Their stories really bring these abstract concepts to life. They show us how faith translates into action, how principles manifest in real-world situations.
So we see this unshakable faith in the cave incident with Abu Bakr.
Yeah.
But there's another story that reveals his incredible generosity.
Right.
And his deep, deep understanding of the Prophet, right? I'm thinking of Hadith 5869.
Ah, yes. Fascinating hadith.
Yeah.
It tells us about this moment where God offers the Prophet a choice the beauty of this world or that which was with him.
Okay.
And the prophet, peace be upon him, he chose the latter without hesitation.
Wow.
He valued the spiritual over the material, a testament, really,
Yeah.
to his focus on the divine mission.
And Abu Bakr's reaction
Right.
to this is
Yeah.
what gets me right.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't celebrate,
Yeah.
doesn't offer congratulations. He weeps.
His reaction is powerful.
It's so powerful.
So telling. And, it wasn't simply admiration or awe. It was this deep understanding of the prophet's nature. Abu Bakr realized the weight of the prophet's choice, that immense responsibility he carried, and those sacrifices he was willing to make for his mission. And he cried out, "Let our fathers and mothers be taken as ransom for you." A profound expression of love and that willingness to sacrifice anything for the prophet.
It's like he understood the depth
Right.
of the prophet's commitment to God's message.
Yeah.
And he felt the weight of that responsibility
Yes.
on his own shoulders.
Exactly. And I think it really speaks volumes about Abu Bakr's character. He wasn't just a follower.
Right.
He was a confidant, someone who really understood the prophet's heart,
Yeah.
burdens,
Right.
and his aspirations. And, the Hadith goes on to describe the prophet's immense love
Right.
and respect for Abu Bakr, stating that if he were to choose a close friend, it would have been Abu Bakr.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there was that personal bond there, that deep friendship
Absolutely.
that went beyond leader
Yeah.
and follower.
But what's even more beautiful is that the prophet, he acknowledges this deep affection,
Mm-hmm.
but then chooses to prioritize that broader concept of Islamic brotherhood.
Yeah.
Emphasizing that his love for Abu Bakr doesn't diminish his love for the entire Muslim community.
Right. So he's saying, yes, I love Abu Bakr
Yeah.
deeply, but my love for the Ummah, for all believers is just as important.
Yeah.
Can't prioritize one over the other.
Exactly. And this really beautifully encapsulates the essence of Ihsan, which we've been discussing.
Right.
It's about striving for that excellence in our actions, intentions, not just our personal relationships,
Right.
but in our service to God and the entire Muslim community.
Yeah. I mean, putting the needs of the community
Mm-hmm.
above personal desires.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Recognizing the importance of Islamic brotherhood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is such a powerful message, even today.
Oh, absolutely. It's a reminder, that our individual actions
That-
and choices have an impact
Yeah.
on that wider community, and that we have this responsibility to consider the well-being of others,
Right.
even when it requires personal sacrifice.
Okay, so we've seen Abu Bakr's unwavering faith. We've seen his generosity.
Right.
But what makes his story even more remarkable is he ultimately becomes the first caliph, the leader of the Muslim community after the prophet passes.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, the prophet, peace be upon him, he didn't explicitly name a successor.
Right.
However, several hadiths do point towards Abu Bakr as that natural choice
Okay.
to lead the community. For example, Hadith 5, 8, and 67 recounts this conversation with Aisha, may God be pleased with her, where she's asked who the prophet would have chosen as his successor if he had to nominate one. Her response is immediate and clear: Abu Bakr.
So even without an explicit declaration, there was this understanding among, those closest to the prophet that
Right.
Abu Bakr was the most qualified to lead.
Exactly. And, this understanding is further reinforced in Hadith 5, 8, 7, 8. A woman approaches the prophet, asks, "If we came to you with a need and didn't find you, whom should we approach?"
Okay.
The prophet responds simply, Abu Bakr.
Powerful statement. It shows, even though the prophet didn't officially, name him successor,
Right.
he clearly designated Abu Bakr
Yeah.
as the person to turn to in his absence.
Right. And these hadiths, combined with Abu Bakr's exemplary character, his deep understanding of Islamic teachings, and his close relationship with the prophet ultimately led to him being chosen as the first caliph. And it's fascinating, I think, to consider why the prophet didn't explicitly name a successor.
Yeah.
Some scholars suggest that he wanted to really emphasize that leadership in the Muslim community should be based on merit and consensus,
Yeah.
not just on blood ties or lineage.
Right. So it's not just something that's inherited.
Exactly.
It's about choosing the person who's best equipped
Right.
to serve the community.
Yeah.
And uphold those principles of Islam.
And in that regard, Abu Bakr,
Yeah.
a truly remarkable choice. I mean, he led the Muslim community through this turbulent period, navigating internal conflicts, external threats, and, that immense responsibility
Yeah.
of preserving and expanding the legacy of the Prophet Muhammad.
His story is a testament to
Absolutely.
the power of faith,
Mm-hmm.
humility,
Yeah.
and selfless service.
Yeah.
Qualities there, I think, continue to inspire leaders and believers alike.
It's also a reminder, right, that
Yeah.
leadership isn't just about
Right.
power or authority.
Right.
It's about embodying Islamic values, serving the needs of the community, and upholding those principles of justice and compassion.
Well, we've got a good look into Abu Bakr's story, but what about some of the other companions?
Yeah.
The other prominent companions. There were so many individuals that played a crucial role in shaping early Islam.
Yeah.
What about Umar ibn al-Khattab? He always struck me as like this strong, almost like imposing figure.
Umar ibn al-Khattab, the second caliph of
Yeah.
Islam, he was a man of immense strength and conviction. But, his story it's far more nuanced than just being this stern enforcer of rules. He was a man of deep faith,
Mm-hmm.
profound intellect, and, as some believe, even divinely inspired.
Divinely inspired. Tell me more.
Well, Hadith 5901, offers this really fascinating insight into Umar's character. And in this hadith, the Prophet Muhammad actually refers to Umar
Okay.
as one of the muhaddithin,
Okay.
a term that refers to individuals who receive divine inspiration,
Okay.
a subtle form of guidance known as ilham.
Oh, okay. So it's like he had this ability to kind of sense
Yes.
what was right, even in like complex situations.
Exactly. And ilham, it's not about receiving explicit revelations like prophets do. It's more this kind of intuition,
Okay.
a heightened awareness,
Right.
a sense of knowing that guides one towards right action. And, throughout his life, Umar, he made decisions and judgments that at the time seemed intuitive, But then later on, they proved to be incredibly wise and beneficial for the Muslim community.
Can you give an example?
Yeah, sure. There are numerous examples.
Okay.
But one that really stands out is his decision to establish the Diwan.
The Diwan.
Yeah, a centralized treasury system
Okay.
for the Muslim state. And, this wasn't a concept that was mentioned in the Quran, or explicitly instructed by the Prophet. But Umar, through his understanding of the growing needs of the community and his foresight,
Yeah.
felt it was necessary to ensure that fair distribution of resources and that financial stability.
So he wasn't just like about enforcing the existing rules.
No.
He was actively like, using his judgment.
Yeah.
And as you suggest, maybe even divine inspiration to shape
Yeah.
the Muslim community.
That's, I think, the complexity of Umar's character. He was known for his strict adherence
Yeah.
to Islamic principles, but he was also capable of innovation and adaptation,
Right.
guided by this deep understanding of the spirit of Islam and perhaps this concept of ilham.
This raises an interesting question.
Yeah.
If he was receiving this ilham,
Mm-hmm.
this divine inspiration,
Mm-hmm.
does that mean everything he did was always right?
That's a good question. And,
Is he like infallible?
ilham is a subtle guidance, right?
Right.
It's a nudge in the right direction,
Right.
but it doesn't negate human agency
Yeah.
or free will, right?
Yeah.
It's not a guarantee of perfection or infallibility.
Right.
Umar, like all human beings, he made mistakes.
Right.
But his commitment to seeming guidance, his willingness to consult with others,
Right.
and that unwavering faith
Yeah.
really helped him navigate those challenges and ultimately, lead the community towards greater stability
Yeah.
and prosperity.
That's a really valuable distinction to make.
Yeah.
It reminds us that even those who are divinely inspired are still human.
Absolutely.
They're still capable of error.
Yeah.
And it's that their commitment to righteousness, their constant striving,
Yeah,
for improvement, that's what makes them these exemplary figures.
exactly. And, that brings us to another interesting aspect of Umar's personality, his strong sense of justice
Okay.
and his unwavering commitment
Mhm.
to upholding Islamic principles. And there's a story that's narrated in Hadith 5900
Okay.
that really illustrates this.
Are you talking about the incident where he silenced the women who were speaking loudly?
That's the one.
Okay, yeah. I remember reading about that.
Yeah, it's a story that often sparks debate,
Okay.
Some view it as an example of Umar's, harshness.
Yeah.
But if we look a little deeper, I think it reveals something much more nuanced.
Okay.
The women were really engrossed in conversation. Their voices were overlapping with the Prophet's, made it difficult for others to hear him.
Yeah. Umar, concerned about this disruption and the potential disrespect
Yeah.
that it showed, he interjects
Yeah.
and, caused the women to quickly quiet down.
Now, some might say that his reaction was a bit strong,
Sure.
maybe even a bit disrespectful to the women.
It's certainly a valid perspective,
Right.
but I think it's important to consider the context, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, this was a time when the very foundations of Islam were being laid.
Yeah.
The Prophet's teachings were being disseminated, and that respect for him and his message was paramount.
Yeah.
Umar, with his deep commitment to upholding those Islamic principles,
Mm-hmm.
might have perceived the women's loud chatter as this transgression,
Okay.
that needed to be addressed swiftly.
Right. So it wasn't about silencing women or suppressing their voices.
Yep.
It was about maintaining decorum and ensuring the Prophet's message
Exactly.
was heard clearly. And it's worth noting that the Prophet himself didn't rebuke Umar for his actions. In fact, in later hadiths, he praises Umar's strong sense of justice, and his unwavering commitment to right and wrong.
Right.
This is where his nickname comes from, Al-Faruq, which means the one who distinguishes between right and wrong.
Right. So it's about understanding that sometimes upholding justice, defending principles,
Mm-hmm.
might require taking a stand,
Yes.
even if it seems unpopular or even a little bit harsh.
It's a reminder that leadership isn't just about being popular,
Yeah.
Or agreeable.
Yeah.
It's about having the courage to stand up
Right.
for what's right, even when it's difficult.
Right.
And Umar, with his strong personality and his deep sense of justice, I think, really embodied this principle throughout his life.
Okay. We've explored Abu Bakr's unwavering faith,
Mm-hmm.
Umar's strong personality, and that divinely inspired leadership.
Right.
What about Uthman, the third caliph? What stands out to you about him?
Uthman ibn Affan, may God be pleased with him, he was a man known for his gentle nature, his exceptional modesty, and his unwavering commitment to the principles of Islam.
Okay.
And, he was known as Bun Nurayn.
Dun Nurayn.
Yeah, meaning the possessor of two lights.
The possessor of two lights.
A title bestowed upon him because he married two of the Prophet's daughters, Ruqayya, and after her passing, Kulthum.
Oh, wow. That is such a beautiful and poetic title. And it really speaks volumes about how highly he was regarded,
Yeah.
But what are some of the stories or hadiths that showcase Uthman's unique character?
Well, one hadith that beautifully illustrates his modesty is Hadith 59107.
Okay.
And it recounts this incident where both Abu Bakr and then Umar, they sought permission to enter the Prophet's room while he was resting with Aisha. And in both instances, the Prophet granted them permission, without changing his position or asking Aisha to cover herself. However, when Uthman sought permission, the Prophet immediately sat up and asked Aisha to cover herself properly.
Interesting detail.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the reason for that sudden shift?
Mm-hmm.
Why this extra consideration?
Yeah, so later, Aisha, may God be pleased with her, asked the Prophet about this.
Okay.
And his response reveals this depth of his understanding and respect for Uthman's character. He explained that Uthman was a man of exceptional modesty and shyness.
Okay.
And he feared that if he allowed him to enter while Aisha was uncovered, Uthman, out of his bashfulness, he might not be able to fully express his need or request.
So, it was an act of kindness.
Yeah.
To create that safe space for Uthman to speak freely, right? Without feeling embarrassed or uncomfortable.
Absolutely. And it also, it speaks to the importance of sensitivity and awareness, right, in our interactions with others. It's about recognizing people have different comfort levels and adjusting our behavior accordingly, especially when dealing with someone known for their modesty,
Right.
like Uthman.
And it's a beautiful example of how the Prophet exemplified those values.
Yeah.
Of kindness, empathy, respect for individual differences.
Absolutely.
But there's another side to Uthman's story.
Yeah.
A more challenging one, right? Didn't he face some significant trials?
You're right. Uthman's life wasn't without its share of hardship.
Right.
And sadly, his fate was actually foreshadowed in Hadith 5909.
Okay.
This hadith describes a scene where the Prophet is in a garden, and Abu Bakr, Umar, and Uthman arrive seeking entrance.
Cool.
And the Prophet welcomes each one and gives Abu Bakr and Umar these glad tidings of paradise.
Okay.
However, when Uthman arrives, the Prophet says, "Open it for him and give him the glad tidings of paradise after a trial that would afflict him."
Wow, that's a contrast.
Yeah.
It's almost like a premonition of what was to come for him.
It certainly is. And what's even more poignant is Uthman's reaction. Yeah.
To this prophecy, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't express fear
Right.
or doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, he prays,
Okay.
"O Allah, grant me steadfastness."
Yeah.
And it's a simple prayer, right?
Yeah.
But it reveals his awareness
Yeah.
of that challenging path ahead
Mm-hmm.
and his unwavering trust in God's support.
Right. So it's like he's accepting his destiny,
Mm-hmm.
embracing the trials to come, knowing that that ultimate reward lies with God.
Absolutely. And this hadith really foreshadows those turbulent later years of Uthman's caliphate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this period marked by political intrigue, internal dissent, and ultimately his tragic assassination.
Right, right,
It's a reminder that even the most righteous individuals
right,
can face immense challenges in this life,
right,
but their faith and their resilience
right.
can guide them through those hardships.
It's a powerful message of steadfastness in the face of adversity, right?
Yeah,
Trusting in God's plan even when you don't understand it.
absolutely.
Valuable lesson for all of us. Right. I mean, life is full of challenges, and our faith can be that source of strength and guidance as we kind of navigate those difficulties. And Uthman's story reminds us, even in those darkest of times, our connection to God, our submission to his will, it can provide us with that resilience we need to overcome adversity.
Well, we've covered three of the most prominent companions, Abu Bakr, Umar, and Uthman. Of course, there's another figure who looms large in early Islamic history, Ali ibn Abi Talib. What insights can you offer about him?
Ali ibn Abi Talib, the fourth caliph, truly extraordinary figure. He was the Prophet's cousin, his son-in-law,
Right.
married to Fatima, the Prophet's daughter, and a man renowned for his courage, wisdom, and this profound spiritual connection with the Prophet.
Their relationship was multifaceted, right?
Absolutely.
Like he was family, he was companion, he was student,
Mm-hmm.
and a trusted advisor.
Exactly. And this unique bond is beautifully illustrated, I think, in several hadiths. Hadith 5916, for example, recounts a moment where the Prophet, peace be upon him, he turns to Ali and says, "Aren't you satisfied with being unto me what Aaron was unto Moses?"
Wow. Powerful comparison. So Aaron being Prophet Moses' brother
Right.
and spokesperson,
Yes.
vital figure
Right.
in supporting his mission. What's the significance, like comparing Ali
Right.
to Aaron?
I think this comparison really highlights that crucial role that Ali played in supporting the Prophet's mission.
Yeah.
Suggests this relationship built on trust, loyalty, and shared responsibility for spreading that message of Islam.
It's like they were like two halves of the same mission, right?
Yeah.
Each complementing,
Yeah.
strengthening the other.
And this, this deep bond is further emphasized in Hadith 5918, which recounts the Battle of Khaybar.
Okay.
Pivotal moment in early Islamic history. And the Prophet declares that he will give the banner of Islam to someone who loves God and his messenger and is loved by them in return, someone through whom God will grant victory.
I can imagine the anticipation,
Yeah.
among all the companions wanting to be chosen.
Right. The next morning, the companions gather, hoping to be chosen. And the Prophet asks about Ali, who at the time was suffering from an eye ailment.
Okay.
And Ali is brought to him. The Prophet applies his saliva to Ali's eyes, invoking blessings upon him. And miraculously, Ali's eyes are healed, and the Prophet bestows upon him the banner.
Almost like a scene from a movie,
Yeah.
So dramatic and symbolic.
It certainly is. And, I think it speaks volumes about the Prophet's love and care for Ali, but also his belief in Ali's capabilities.
Yeah.
He knew that Ali possessed the courage, the faith, and that strategic brilliance
Yeah.
to lead the Muslims to victory.
Right.
And indeed, Ali did not disappoint,
Right.
playing this pivotal role
Yeah.
in the conquest of Khaybar.
So we see this profound spiritual connection,
Mm-hmm.
this immense trust
Yeah.
placed in Ali's abilities.
Mm-hmm.
It's clear why he becomes the fourth caliph,
Right.
chosen to lead the Muslim community.
His story, like those of Abu Bakr, Umar, and Uthman, is a testament to the diverse talents and contributions of the Prophet's companions.
Yeah.
Each possessed unique qualities, strengths,
Mm-hmm.
that really contributed to the growth and flourishing of that early Muslim community.
This deep dive has been so insightful, but I feel like we've just scratched the surface.
I know, right?
There's so much more to explore in Sahih Muslim, Book 31. What other stories or figures are you, eager to share?
Well, while figures like Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali, they occupy this prominent place in Islamic history. Welcome back to our deep dive into Sahih Muslim, Book 31.
It's great to be back. I'm still thinking about Zara's story from last time.
Yeah.
It left a mark on me.
It's a story that resonates, doesn't it?
No.
Offers such a unique window, into the lives and perspectives of women during those, early days of Islam, particularly in the context of marriage and divorce.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what was the social context of marriage
Yeah.
during that time? And, like, what does Zara's story even reveal about the status of women in that society?
Those are excellent questions.
Yeah.
And I think to really fully grasp the weight of her narrative, we need to understand the backdrop against which it unfolds. And, pre-Islamic Arabia, it was a patriarchal society where women's rights and agency were severely limited.
It was a very different world.
Very different
from what we know today.
Indeed. And marriage, it was often seen as this means to solidify alliances, to gain social standing, or even, to acquire wealth.
Right.
And this really placed women in this very vulnerable position.
So it wasn't necessarily about love or companionship.
Well, love and companionship certainly existed.
Yeah.
But they weren't always those primary driving forces behind marriage in many cases. And divorce, while it was permissible, it could leave women in this really precarious situation, often with very little social or economic support.
Huh.
Imagine the uncertainty and fear that a woman might experience facing divorce in such a society.
Yeah, it's a reminder of how far we've come, in terms of recognizing women's rights, ensuring their social and economic independence.
Absolutely. And, against this backdrop, I think Zara's initial description of her marriage to Abu Zara takes on like this new layer of meaning,
Yeah.
While it might seem like boasting, it highlights the material security, that social recognition that a successful marriage could offer a woman in that era.
It's like she's defining her worth through the lens of her marriage.
Right.
Which is sad, because that's still a reality.
It is.
For a lot of women in certain parts of the world.
Yeah. It really is a reflection of the societal norms of that time. And, her detailed descriptions of her possessions, her comfortable lifestyle, her obedient children, her loyal servant, they all point to that social standing she enjoyed as Abu Zara's wife. However, what makes her story so compelling is that she doesn't just focus on those material aspects,
Right.
She also expresses her emotional needs and her desires.
So she's not just like a passive recipient of her husband's generosity. She's like an active participant in that relationship, seeking emotional fulfillment alongside like that material security.
Exactly. And she describes Abu Zara as sweet as a sweet-smelling plant and soft as a hair,
Okay.
highlighting his kindness and affection towards her. She talks about the joy they shared, the special moments, the little things that made the relationship meaningful. And, these details really humanize her experience, I think. They reveal that even within a system that often objectified women, they still yearn for love, for connection, for emotional intimacy.
Yeah. And it's a powerful reminder that, women's experiences throughout history have been far more complex.
Yes.
And nuanced than is often portrayed.
Absolutely. And then comes that heart-wrenching twist.
Right. Where he divorces her.
Yeah. Abu Zara,
Yeah.
captivated by this younger, more beautiful woman.
Right.
Divorces Aman Zara and marries this new woman.
It shatters this illusion of this perfect life, right?
Right.
Exposes the fragility of a woman's position in that society.
Absolutely.
It's a betrayal
Yeah.
that cuts deep,
It's a stark reminder of those power dynamics at play, that
Yeah.
vulnerability that women faced and the ease with which their lives could be upended
Right.
by the whims of men.
And she has to, rebuild her life from scratch.
It's a challenging situation to be in, but what's remarkable about Zara is her response to this devastating experience.
She doesn't just, wallow in self-pity or bitterness. She remarries. And she seems to move on, right?
Yes, but I think it's not a simple case of moving on.
Right.
She marries this wealthy chieftain who treats her well, showers her with material comforts. However, she poignantly reveals that all these gifts, all this wealth, they can't compare to the smallest gesture of kindness from Abu Zara.
So even though her second marriage offers her, that security, that stability, she still like longs for that emotional connection, right?
Yeah.
That genuine affection
Yes.
that she experienced with Abu Zara.
It really is a testament to that enduring power of love and the complexity of human emotions, I think.
Right.
And it really highlights that, true fulfillment goes beyond just material possessions. It's
Yeah.
about those deeper connections,
Yeah.
those shared experiences, those
Yeah.
moments of genuine love and kindness that really leave that indelible mark on our heart.
It really makes you think about the true meaning,
Mm.
of happiness and contentment, right? So
Yeah.
it's not just about having things,
Yep.
It's about those like intangible qualities,
Mm.
those heartfelt connections that enrich our lives in ways that wealth and status, never can.
Beautifully put. And I think this really brings us back to the concept of Ihsan,
Yeah.
that we've been exploring kind of throughout this deep dive.
Right, right.
So, how does Zara's story relate to this principle
Right.
of striving for excellence, both in our relationship with God
Yeah.
and with each other?
That's a good question. I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Well, on one level, I think, Zara's story challenges us to consider multiple perspectives,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And to approach others with empathy and understanding. And while Abu Zura's actions might seem harsh, even cruel from a modern perspective,
Yeah.
it's important to remember that he was operating within a different social and cultural framework.
Right. So we're not condoning his actions, but just trying to look at the context
Exactly.
it had happened in.
It's about recognizing that even actions that we might disagree with
Yeah.
can stem from a different set of values,
Right.
beliefs, societal norms, right?
Yeah.
And perhaps this is where Ihsan comes in.
Hmm.
It's about striving to transcend our own limited perspectives,
Yeah.
to see the humanity in others, even those whose choices might differ from our own.
So it's about cultivating that compassion,
Yeah,
even when it's difficult.
exactly. It's about extending kindness and understanding even to those
Right.
who might have wronged us. And this is, I think, where Zara's story truly shines,
Right.
Despite the pain and the betrayal that she experiences, she doesn't demonize Abu Zara.
Right.
She acknowledges his good qualities,
Yeah.
the happy times that they shared,
Right.
and that lasting impact he had on her life.
It's like a powerful display of forgiveness.
Yes.
Emotional maturity.
And it's like she's choosing to hold on to the good.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Cherish those positive memories
Right.
rather than letting the pain of the past define her present or future.
It's a beautiful illustration, I think, of the transformative power of forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It reminds us that holding on to that anger,
Yeah.
that resentment, it only hurts us in the long run.
Absolutely.
And letting go of those negative emotions,
Mhm.
choosing to forgive, that allows us to heal and move forward,
Yes.
with grace and compassion.
A valuable lesson, I think, for all of us, especially in today's world,
Yeah.
where it's so easy to get caught up in that anger, resentment, sense of grievance, right? And Zara's story reminds us that forgiveness is this powerful act of self-liberation,
Yeah.
It's a way to free ourselves from those shackles of the past
Right.
and embrace the possibilities of the present.
Beautifully said. And this emphasis on forgiveness,
Mm-hmm.
compassion, and understanding, it ties in, I think, beautifully with another key theme that emerges from Book 31, the importance of community building,
Yeah.
strengthening those bonds,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Of brotherhood and sisterhood within the Ummah.
Absolutely. And we've talked about those individual companions, right?
Yeah.
But what about those groups, the communities that played such a vital role in shaping early Islam?
Right.
I'm thinking specifically about the Ansar, the helpers,
Yeah.
who welcomed the Prophet and the Muhajirun
Right.
in Medina.
Yeah.
Their story is such a powerful testament to that transformative power of unity and solidarity.
Yeah. Their actions were nothing short of extraordinary, right?
Yeah.
They opened their homes and their hearts to a group of strangers,
Yeah.
sharing their resources,
Mm-hmm.
providing protection,
Yeah.
and helping them to establish that new community in Medina.
Just imagine the challenges, the sacrifices
Yeah.
involved in welcoming, this large group of people
Yeah.
into your city, into your homes,
Yeah.
sharing everything you have with them.
It must have required immense faith,
Oh, yeah.
generosity,
Mm-hmm.
a deep commitment to that nascent Muslim community.
Absolutely. Their actions weren't just about hospitality.
Yeah.
They were an act of faith, a demonstration of their belief in the Prophet's message.
Yeah.
and their willingness to support his mission,
Right.
even at great personal cost.
And the Prophet deeply appreciated that.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Recognized the crucial role
Yeah.
that they played in the survival
Absolutely.
and the growth of Islam. There are several hadiths
Right.
in Book 31 that highlight this special bond
Yeah.
between the Prophet and the Ansar.
You know, one hadith that beautifully encapsulates this bond is Hadith 6103. And in this hadith, the Prophet, he declares the Ansar are my family and my trusted friends, and he acknowledges that their numbers will inevitably dwindle,
Right.
right,
Yeah.
as the Muslim community expands. And he urges his followers to appreciate the deeds of those from amongst them who do good and overlook their failings.
It's like this touching expression of gratitude, and it's a reminder that even within a growing community, right, we should never forget the sacrifices
Yeah.
of those who came before us, those that laid the foundation for our collective well-being.
It's also a call, I think, for continued unity and compassion.
Right.
As the Muslim community expands and diversifies, it's essential to remember those who were there from the beginning,
Yeah.
to honor their contributions
Right.
and to extend that kindness and understanding even when disagreements or, differences arise.
Right. Like he's saying, yes, the community's growing, but let's not forget our roots.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, those values
Mm-hmm.
that brought us together in the first place. Unity, compassion, selfless service.
Absolutely. And this message is further reinforced in Hadith 6099,
Okay.
where the Prophet,
Yeah.
he specifically prays for the Ansar, their children, their descendants, seeking God's forgiveness for them.
Yeah.
And I think this prayer really highlights that depth of his love and respect.
Right.
He wasn't just their leader.
Right.
He was their brother in faith,
Yeah.
their friend, their advocate, someone who genuinely cared for their well-being, both in this world and the next.
It's a testament to the power of genuine connection.
Yeah.
And the importance of building those strong and supportive communities.
Yeah.
But the Ansar's story is more than just, that generosity and hospitality.
Right.
They were instrumental in defending the early Muslim community from external threats as well.
They weren't just passive supporters.
Yeah.
They were active participants in that struggle to establish and defend that early Muslim state.
And they fought alongside
Yes.
the Muhajirun in those key battles, like Badr and Uhud, putting their lives on the line for the sake of their faith and their community.
So their contributions went far beyond just providing that material support.
Right.
They were actively involved in shaping that political and social landscape of early Islam.
Risking everything to defend that newfound faith in that community that they built together.
They understood that building a just and equitable society based on the principles of Islam, it required both courage and sacrifice.
Right?
Right. And they were willing to put everything on the line.
Yeah.
To protect their community and ensure its future.
It's inspiring, to see how they seamlessly integrated their faith into like every aspect of their lives, from their personal interactions to their political engagement. They weren't just talking about Islam.
No, they were living it.
They were living it.
Defending it and shaping it through their actions. Yeah, their stories, a powerful reminder that faith isn't just about beliefs, or rituals. It's about translating those beliefs into action. It's about building a better world for ourselves and for future generations.
But, even within this community, united by faith, there were differences.
Of course.
Disagreements, even conflict.
Absolutely. The Ansar, they weren't this monolithic group.
Yeah.
They came from different tribes, clans, each with their own history.
Yeah.
Allegiances and sometimes, rivalries.
Right.
And it must have been challenging.
Yeah, it must have been really challenging.
To navigate those differences. And maintain that sense of unity.
And Hadith 60-98.
Yeah.
It offers like this glimpse into one such conflict, where these two Ansar tribes, Banu Salama, Banu Haritha, were on the verge of this, serious dispute that threatened to to disrupt the fragile peace
Yeah.
within the community.
And the prophet, peace be upon him, he intervened,
yeah,
reminding them of their shared faith,
yeah,
their common purpose, and
yeah.
that importance of resolving their differences peacefully.
So even within, this community,
Mm.
bound by faith,
Yeah.
there was still these tensions, these disagreements. It's a
Mhm.
reminder that building, strong and lasting communities
Yeah.
requires constant effort, willingness to compromise,
Mhm.
and commitment to resolving conflict constructively. It also shows the prophet's role
Yeah.
as like a peacemaker,
Yes.
right? Someone who could bridge those divides and remind people of their shared values.
Absolutely. And that verse, and hold firmly to the rope of Allah altogether and do not become divided. And remember the favor of Allah upon you when you were enemies. And he brought your hearts together and you became, by his favor, brothers. 3.103.
Right.
It emphasizes that importance of unity
Yeah.
and reminds the believers of that transformative power of faith in overcoming those past enmities and forging that new brotherhood.
It's a powerful message, I think,
Yeah.
that resonates even today. I mean, we live in a world
I know, right?
that's increasingly fragmented,
Yes.
by ideological,
Yeah.
political, social differences, and the story of the Ansar.
Yeah.
And the message of this verse remind us of the importance of seeking common ground, right? Remembering our shared humanity and working together to build those bridges of understanding and compassion,
Absolutely.
especially within our own communities.
Well said. And the Ansar story, I think it's this timeless reminder
Yeah.
that true strength lies in that unity. That diversity can be this source of strength rather than division.
Right.
And that building those strong communities, it requires that constant commitment
Yeah.
to dialogue, right, understanding, and reconciliation.
It's about recognizing that our individual well-being
Yeah,
is interconnected
absolutely.
with the well-being of
Yes.
our communities,
Yeah.
and that we have that responsibility
Mm-hmm.
to contribute to their strength, their
Yeah.
resilience.
Yeah. This deep dive into the world of the Ansar has been incredibly insightful. It's just amazing to see how those early Muslims really navigated the complexities of community building, balancing those individual needs with the collective good and ultimately laying the foundation for a thriving and diverse society rooted in faith and compassion.
Their story's a testament
Absolutely.
to the transformative power of faith
Mhm.
and community, a reminder that we all have a role to play in supporting, uplifting those around us, and that true strength lies not in our differences, but in our shared commitment
Mm-hmm.
to building a more just and compassionate world.
These stories of individual companions and groups like the Ansar, they really paint this vivid and inspiring picture
Yeah.
of that early Muslim community.
It makes you wonder,
Mhm.
looking back at those early generations,
Mhm.
what was it about that particular generation,
Yeah.
that made them so special? What set them apart?
That is a profound question, and
Yeah.
it's one that's addressed in several hadiths
Yeah.
that focus on this concept of the best generations of the ummah, the Muslim community.
Right.
And these hadiths offer this fascinating glimpse
Yeah.
into the prophet's perspective on those unique qualities
Yeah.
of those who lived during and immediately after his time.
Okay, what specific hadiths
Yeah.
are you referring to?
Hadiths like, 6151, 6153, 6159, they all,
Yeah.
highlight the prophet's view on the best generations of his ummah.
I'm all ears. What insights do they provide?
Well, in Hadith 6151, for instance,
Okay.
a companion asks the prophet, peace be upon him, which of the people are best?
Okay.
And his response is clear and emphatic.
Right.
Those of my generation, then those who follow them, then those who follow them.
Okay, so there's like a clear hierarchy here, right?
Yes.
With the prophet's generation at the top, right?
At the pinnacle,
Yeah.
followed by the two succeeding generations.
What was it about,
Yeah.
those early generations
Yeah.
that made them, so special in the prophet's eyes?
Right.
What qualities set them apart?
That's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
To ponder. And the hadiths themselves, they don't explicitly state those reasons, but I think we can glean some insights from from the historical context and
Right.
that broader message of the prophet's teachings.
Right.
You know, those who lived during the prophet's time,
Yeah.
they had this unique privilege, right,
Hmm.
of witnessing his miracles, of receiving his guidance firsthand and experiencing the transformative power of his message in its purest form.
Right. They were like, the pioneers of Islam, right? The ones
Yes.
that embraced the message when it was still,
Yeah.
new and challenging, who faced the persecution,
Yeah.
migrated to Medina,
Mm-hmm.
built the foundation.
Absolutely. Their faith was forged
Yeah.
in the crucible of hardship
Right.
and tested through trials.
Yeah.
They sacrificed their comfort, their
Yeah.
wealth, their homes, and even their lives
Yeah.
for the sake of their faith and their community. And, their unwavering commitment and sacrifices really laid the groundwork
Yeah.
for the spread of Islam.
And the flourishing of the Ummah.
And the generations that followed, right,
Yeah.
benefited from that legacy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They had the advantage of learning from the companions,
Yeah.
inheriting their knowledge, their piety, their commitment to upholding the principles of Islam.
But what's crucial, I think, to remember,
Yeah.
is that these hadiths about the best generations
Yeah.
they're not meant to discourage or to
Mm.
diminish the contributions of later generations.
No, not at all.
Right. Instead, I think they offer this blueprint
Yes.
for excellence, a set of values and
Yeah.
qualities
Yeah.
that all Muslims, regardless of, when they live, can strive to embody.
You've hit the mark. These hadiths, they remind us of the importance of cultivating strong faith,
Yeah.
adhering to God's commandments,
Yeah.
seeking knowledge,
Right.
serving our community.
Striving for that excellence in all that we do.
Yeah.
They inspire us to follow in the footsteps of those who came before us, carrying that torch of Islam forward,
Right.
contributing to the betterment
Right.
of humanity.
It's about recognizing that our connection
Yeah.
to the Prophet, peace be upon him, is not just about historical lineage,
Right.
but about embodying his teachings
Mm.
and striving to live lives
Mm.
that reflect his message of mercy, compassion, and justice.
Well said.
Yeah.
These hadiths about the best generations, I think, they challenge us to reflect
Yeah.
on our own lives,
Yeah.
our priorities and our
Yeah.
contributions to
Yeah.
the world,
Yeah.
They inspire us to reach for that higher standard, to seek knowledge, to
Mhm.
refine our character,
Yeah.
and to leave that positive mark
Yeah.
on the world.
It's a powerful reminder that, even though we might not have, lived during the Prophet's time,
Mm-hmm.
we can still
Mhm.
strive to embody his teachings,
Yeah.
emulate those exemplary qualities
Well, absolutely.
of those that came before us.
And in doing so, we contribute to that ongoing legacy of Islam, this legacy that has enriched countless lives over the centuries,
Yeah.
and continues to offer that guidance and inspiration
Right.
for generations to come.
This deep dive has been so illuminating. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of the Prophet Muhammad's companions through the lens of Sahih Muslim, Book 31. It's been an incredible journey so far.
It truly has. Walking alongside these extraordinary individuals, witnessing their unwavering faith,
Yeah.
their profound generosity, their deep commitment to building a just and compassionate society.
And, throughout our exploration, this concept of Ihsan has kept coming up, right? This idea of striving for excellence in our actions, intentions, not just in our relationship with God, but in our interactions with others.
Yes, Ihsan is like this golden thread woven through the tapestry of their lives. It's about going above and beyond in everything we do, motivated by a sincere desire to please God and to contribute to the well-being of humanity.
And I'm struck by how the Prophet's companions, embodied Ihsan
Yeah.
in such diverse ways.
Mhm.
Each story we've discussed offers this unique perspective on what it means to live a life of excellence.
Absolutely. I mean, think about Abu Bakr's unwavering faith in the cave.
Yeah.
His willingness to sacrifice everything for the Prophet and the nascent Muslim community.
Right.
That's Ihsan in action.
And then you have Umar
Yeah.
with that strong sense of justice
Yes.
and divinely inspired leadership.
Right.
He wasn't afraid to make tough decisions, to challenge the status quo,
Mm.
always striving to uphold what he believed was right,
Yeah.
even if it meant going against popular opinion. That takes, A special kind of courage and conviction.
And who could forget Uthman's humility and modesty? Despite his wealth and social standing, he remained grounded,
Yeah.
always mindful of others and deeply respectful of their feelings.
Yeah.
His gentle nature and his commitment to treating everyone with kindness and consideration. Another beautiful manifestation of Ihsan.
And Ali, right?
Yes.
With his profound spiritual connection with the Prophet.
Yeah.
And his unwavering courage in defending the Muslim community.
Absolutely.
Dedication to justice, unwavering loyalty, truly inspiring.
And let's not forget the Ansar, whose selflessness and generosity in welcoming the Muhajirun set a standard for community building and solidarity that continues to inspire us today.
Each companion, each story offers a unique facet of Ihsan, showing us that it's not just this theoretical concept, but like this living, breathing principle that can manifest in countless ways.
That's the beauty of Ihsan, It's not like a rigid set of rules or a one-size-fits-all approach to life.
Yeah.
It's about finding our own unique path to excellence.
Yeah.
A path that aligns with our individual strengths and capabilities, always motivated by a sincere desire to please God.
Yeah.
And to contribute to the betterment of humanity.
It's like saying, yes, there's a destination, a goal we're all striving towards. But there are many different paths that lead there.
Right.
What matters is the sincerity of our intentions and the effort we put into making each step count.
Beautifully put. And I think that's just a powerful message for us today,
Yeah.
In a world that often emphasizes conformity and external validation, Ihsan reminds us to focus on those inner motivations, on the purity of our intentions, on that deep desire to connect with the divine and to reflect that connection in our interactions with the world around us.
So it's about striving for excellence, not for the recognition or the reward, but for the sake of God, for the betterment of ourselves and humanity.
Exactly. And this brings us to another important dimension of Ihsan, I think. This emphasis on community building, on strengthening the bonds of brotherhood and sisterhood within the Ummah.
Yeah, we've seen this illustrated beautifully, right?
Yes.
In the story of the Ansar and the Muhajirun.
It's a powerful testament to what can be achieved when people come together.
Right.
Setting aside their differences, focusing on those shared goals, values, and the Ansar's willingness to share their homes, their resources, their lives with the Muhajirun is an extraordinary example of Ihsan on that collective level.
Yeah, it's a reminder that true strength lies in unity, right?
Yeah.
In recognizing our shared humanity and supporting one another through thick and thin.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just about material support either.
Right.
The Ansar and the Muhajirun fought side by side. They defended their community together. They built a new society based on the principles of Islam.
It's like they understood that building a just and equitable society, it requires more than just individual effort.
Right.
It requires collective action.
Yeah.
A willingness to put the needs of the community above personal interests.
Absolutely.
Commitment to working together toward the common goal.
And I think this is a lesson that resonates really deeply in today's world,
Yeah.
where individualism and self-interest often take precedence over communal well-being.
Right.
And I think the story of the Ansar and the Muhajirun challenges us to kind of rethink our priorities, to invest in building those strong and supportive communities, to recognize that our individual well-being is inextricably linked to the well-being of those around us.
So Ihsan isn't just about personal piety. It's about building a better world, a more just and compassionate society where everyone feels that sense of belonging.
Yes, precisely. And this brings us to, I think, another crucial aspect of Ihsan, forgiveness.
Yeah.
And we see this so beautifully illustrated in Zahra's story, the story that touched upon the complexities of human relationships and the challenges women faced in a patriarchal society.
Her story is a testament to the resilience, of the human spirit, the power of forgiveness to heal, even the deepest wounds. Despite the betrayal and the heartbreak she experienced, she chose to let go of that anger, that resentment, focusing instead on those good memories and the positive aspects of her relationship with Abu Zara.
It's a reminder, that forgiveness is not about condoning wrongdoing.
Yeah.
It's about freeing ourselves from the bitterness, the pain that can poison our hearts. It's about recognizing that everyone makes mistakes.
Right.
We all have flaws, and that holding on to anger only hurts us in the long run.
Right. So it's choosing to let go
Yeah.
of the past, focus on the present,
Mm.
and move forward,
Yeah.
with grace and compassion, both for ourselves
Absolutely.
and for those who have wronged us.
And, I think this is a message that's particularly relevant
Yeah.
in today's world where social media
Mm-hmm.
and the 24-hour news cycle can often amplify negativity and fuel that outrage,
Yeah.
And Zara's story reminds us of that importance of choosing kindness,
Right.
empathy, and forgiveness, even in the face of hurt and disappointment.
Yeah, it's about remembering, that everyone's fighting their own battles.
Yeah.
That we all have,
Yeah.
our own stories.
Yeah.
And that sometimes, the most courageous act is to extend that hand of compassion
Yes.
rather than a fist of anger.
Yeah. Beautifully said. So, you know, as we delve deeper into this concept of Ihsan, we see that it's not just this theoretical ideal.
Yeah.
It's this practical guide for living a life of purpose, meaning, and excellence. It's about striving for the best in ourselves, in our relationships,
Right.
in our contributions to the world. Cultivating that inner character,
Yeah.
strengthening those communities,
Yeah.
extending forgiveness to those who have wronged us.
And as we've seen,
Yeah.
through the stories of the companions,
Right.
each individual has this unique role to play
Right.
in embodying Ihsan.
Yeah.
Each according to their own strengths,
Yeah.
capabilities. It's this journey of continuous growth, of learning,
Absolutely.
of striving,
Yeah.
of supporting one another along the way.
And Book 31 of Sahih Muslim, it offers us this roadmap for this journey, this compass to guide us towards a life of excellence and fulfillment.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into this remarkable book, what final thought would you like to leave our listeners with?
I would simply encourage everyone to revisit these stories, to reflect on the lives of these extraordinary individuals,
Yeah.
their choices, and their unwavering commitment to Islam, Let their examples inspire you
Yeah.
to strive for that excellence in your own lives,
Right.
to cultivate that compassion and forgiveness in your hearts,
Yeah.
and to contribute to the betterment of your communities and the world around you.
What a beautiful,
Mhm.
inspiring message. And,
Yeah.
and I would add that even though we might not have had that privilege,
Yeah.
right, of living during the prophet's time,
Mm-hmm.
we can still learn from his companions, draw inspiration
Right.
from their stories, and strive to embody those timeless values
Yeah.
of Islam in our own unique ways.
We hope this deep dive has given you a taste of the richness and depth of Sahih Muslim Book 31. It's a reminder that even centuries later, the stories of the Prophet's companions continue to resonate, offering that timeless wisdom and guidance
Right.
for us all.
Until next time, keep seeking knowledge.
Keep striving for excellence.
And may peace be upon you